we are yet again back today also with some blunders going around. Maybe we'll learn from that blunder and probably correct it today. Let's have some fun today as well. We'll play 5 minutes based game with random opponents. Let's see what happens. Mr. Khatri, may I have your screen, please? Here we have the screen. It is a little buffer that we experienced. No, yes, it is the screen, and we are ready to rock and roll. Let's have some fun. To begin with, we have black piece to play with. Opponent begins with b3. That's a little surprising move in the beginning. Fianchetto opening here. The dark squared bishop moves to b2 in the beginning. Khatri wants to develop his pawn towards the central position. Well, the light square bishop has also taken the fianchetto position there. Khatri, do you know how to play this position or not? If this is a familiar context, that's fine. We will be exploring a new tactics, new position today. Well, we are a beginner level player. We want, we just want to have some fun round the corner. He is anticipating some sort of pawn exchange there. Yes, he does the pawn exchange. Perhaps the bishop will take the knight on e4 if the knight takes the pawn. Can we see the pawn? Sorry, knight bishop exchange there? Yes, we do see that. And white player is haven't yet castled. Let's see if white castles in this move. Yes, he does. Well, I'm not here to guide you. I am just here to comment on what is the situation. Well, you know better than me playing chess. That's an amazing elo to have 1-1-1-1. I really like that. Perhaps we will end up having the same elo at the end of the stream as well. Khatri has been agreeing in each of my point today. Let's see. Oh, that pawn push has immediately weakened the king's position for Mr. White. I don't know what sort of tactic does he have, beginning with an unorthodox opening. White, I thought White had some good tactics to play this game, but White seems to slip away in this game. The weakening position of king is really evident on z1. The knight attacks the pawn, but no problem for Mr. Khatri as his pawn just stepped up to protect their pair. Khatri might just wanna attack both of the pawns at once. After this exchange, Khatri will be more than happy to have that exchange and another exchange rolling around. Perhaps, yes, he will be having another exchange, perhaps, but Khatri offers that exchange. Yes, opponent player is also interested in that exchange and he does exchange his pieces. Knight has to be centralized now. Knight has to attack the pawns on c2 and a2, perhaps to create some passer pawns in the king side position. Sorry, the queen side position. The pawn on f6 has been attacked. Khatri must go for counter attack here. Yes, he does go for counter attack, but it will be met with a check, so the counter attack isn't so productive here. After all this, Khatri will Oh my god, that was a blunder from Mr. White, giving away his knight. Perhaps we will see and resign. Yes, we do see a resignation here. Yes, Khatri has black pieces, and Khatri never misses with black pieces. Khatri is interested in bringing out his bishop, but waits for a minute there. Oh, the bishop is immediately kicked out by the pawn. If that was going there, but Khatri has some patience. For now, both of the team has equal position here. Pieces are equally developed by both of the teams for now. Moving on with the middle game, both the players have to move their piece very carefully, as this can be a very complex position where all of the pieces are intact on the board except a pawn, obviously. Khatri is really confused in this complex situation whether he should move his queen or not. The bishop on c8 is yet to be moved. It hasn't explored his first move yet, and Khatri doesn't seem interested in moving that yet again. Khatri is anticipating some sort of knight sacrifice there, perhaps. But that won't be a knight sacrifice because the rook will be unprotected and rook can be taken immediately. So I think moving the knight is pretty obvious, but also bishop, the dark square bishop can be moved to b4 to attack both the knight and insisting the white player to take the bishop and followed by taking off rook. I guess that's crazy idea rolling around Khatri's mind, but Khatri is confused if his calculations would be correct or not. Oh my god, this is really complex situation to play in. Mr. Khatri is having a hard time to choose his move, and he chooses to develop his light square bishop after a minute and 7 seconds of thinking. Khatri is again anticipating some sort of moves, but he goes for long castle here. Yes, he does. Oh, the light square bishop of Mr. White also moves. Khatri must block that bishop or it can be a real threat at the end game in the leading diagonal. Opponent player offers a pawn exchange, but Khatri doesn't seem interested in that. But opponent player takes the pawn. The knight comes forward. After all this exchange, Mr. White will be 2 points up than Mr. Khatri. However, it comes with a curse that Khatri has already done castling, and Khatri also gains more power in the center perhaps after this exchange. But yes, 2 points of advantage is really a good advantage to have, but Khatri missed it. Now Khatri must also deal with the fork attack with the pawn on d4. However, the d4 square is well protected by more than 3 pieces, 4 to be exact. Okay, now Khatri can go for the pawn taking. Yes, he does go for the pawn grabbing. Now the time for the knight or the bishop. Khatri is calculating whether to take the pawn or the bishop, and Khatri goes for the knight. For now, perhaps we cannot tell. now only, but Khatri has been wandering around with his knight and takes the bishop on e3. The knight immediately, sorry, the queen immediately takes, and here is a beautiful fork if somehow the light square bishop is taken out of the way, but no, that was some feasible case rolling there. Position seems fairly equal for both of the team, but talking about central control, white seems very powerful in terms of central control here. Khatri is planning for an exchange, but for now he have to halt his anticipations and plans to withdraw himself from the check. And also, if the queen moves there, Khatri is losing his knight. So Khatri must move his knight, but after that the queen is vulnerable. So Khatri has to think really carefully here. Oh my god, Khatri is losing in terms of time as well. Khatri took a lot of time in 3 or 4 moves in this game, and Khatri is losing after all of this sequence. Yes, he does lose that game. Okay, okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have e4 to start with. Opponent player gives Scandinavian defense in response. Khatri is again thinking for a bit of time. Time has been a really aggressive constraint in Khatri's gameplay. Khatri is constantly having time pressure. We started off Scandinavian defense followed by modern martial variation here. This variation is pretty unfamiliar to both of us, but yet Khatri will try his best to win this game. Opponent player is leading in terms of positional development in the beginning, but Khatri will cope up shortly, I believe. The knights are really powerful for Mr. Black here. The knights must be kicked out, thrown away from this position, else they could be a real threat in. Oh my god. The knight on c2 has been constantly invading into white's territory. Khatri must have some backup plan. Khatri must build a fork against that invasion. Khatri must retaliate. Oh, now the queen also takes her position on the board, marching ahead towards white's position here. After the pawn takes the bishop, and the queen is attacked by the knight. Khatri is ready to give a fork to Mr. Black, but that's not so easy deal to do. Khatri retreats his knight to c3 perhaps. Khatri is having some confusion here, and he is also losing this game in terms of time. The bishop on f5, on the other hand, is really powerful for Mr. White. Khatri is trying to create some counter play by attacking the queen on c6, but I don't think that's so plausible idea here. The knights of Mr. Khatri has been active so far, but the bishop on c1 has been a real passive piece in this game. Khatri must capitalize upon every each and every of his resources. Then the queen takes position on a4. That's beautiful position because it looks an eye. It gives an eye to the knight on f5, f4 as well. Also threatens to move his queen more into the white's position. Khatri must calculate well in this position. I don't think for Khatri, blitz hasn't been a piece of cake. Managing time for Mr. Khatri has been a far cry. Khatri is calculating some of his predicted moves, but I don't think his prediction will go correctly. As far as I know him, Khatri is ready to do some blunder here. The rook on. Oh my god, the rook has been trapped there by the pair of queen and the knights. The knight will be taken after the queen takes the rook. Also, there arises some chances of trapping the black queen if Khatri plays well. Oh my god, maybe if queen doesn't move here, the queen shall be trapped here. Yes, I think the queen will be trapped now, perhaps. Oh my god, Khatri missed that sequence and immediately Khatri. Oh, wait. Khatri has some good positional development, even though Khatri. Oh, okay. This game is fairly equal for both of the teams, but the two knights of Mr. Khatri on central square of the board are really powerful. But Khatri is intending to resign this game. I don't know uh, what difficulty Khatri is facing while playing this special variation of Scandinavian defense. Khatri is losing by 2 points, and Khatri is considering resignation, and he resigns it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in this game we are witnessing the king's PNCR to opening followed by king's variation. This particular variation is also unfamiliar to us. I don't think we know more than Italian and some variation of Caro-Kann. I don't think we know more than that. So every variation is unfamiliar to us. However, we will continue playing this variation as a matter of new knowledge or new idea. Perhaps Khatri is trying to create a beautiful fortress towards the central position of this game, of the board. Will white player be interested in exchanging their knight with bishop? Yes, there will be, and the knight and the bishop are now exchanged. Wait. I think we have a twist. No, we haven't. The typical play here. Khatri went for the exchange, and now Khatri is considering to castle here, but Khatri is losing with 3 points. I don't know what. Sorry, pardon me. What calculation is Khatri missing in this particular game? Maybe Khatri is really distracted with some of his other chores. The rook on f8 was attacked by the bishop, but now the bishop moves again to attack the rook. I don't know if that is a good move to make. Khatri goes for exchange, giving away the open space to other side's rook. Perhaps that was the exchange was a mistake, but Khatri continues to play this game with 3 points of disadvantage. The pawn on g5 was attacked by Mr. Knight, but okay, Knight moves forward for take. The pawn on e2 was unprotected, and Khatri immediately capitalizes upon that, but missed that amazing fork. White spotted that and capitalized upon the chance. Yes, Khatri, that is really shameful, and you must have some peace of that. I don't know, Mr. Khatri. This is really unjustified and cannot be justified with any of the excuse. I think you are really um, I think you are really distracted of the reality, and you must be present in the game. You must concentrate upon the game. You must calculate the variation. You must calculate the position. You must not slip away like that. You must not let your piece go like that. To begin with this, perhaps it is to mark a new beginning of this stream, and Khatri is anticipating to win here. Khatri goes full on. A concentrated, focused mode, perhaps. Khatri isn't developing his pawns here. Khatri must develop pawns, as the experts say that knights before the bishop, but Khatri hasn't been considering that much in this very day. Now Khatri takes his knight on a ride towards f3 square. Khatri is marching ahead with amazing pawn position, but yet again Khatri. Okay, we cannot tell anything about the position yet. Khatri is ready to castle. Bishop exchange offered by Mr. Black. Khatri is ready to exchange the bishop, but in a cost that their rook gets a free space in h5. Okay, constantly bishop exchange offered by Mr. Black, but Khatri is ready to exchange, but in some criteria and clauses. The bishop is now to be taken, I believe, but no, Khatri doesn't think same. Khatri wants to delay the exchange and build the position first. Perhaps Khatri is constantly developing his pieces. Every uh, other pieces, then the queen has been moved. Now Khatri is planning to exchange his bishop, other bishop as well. He is calculating some of his moves. So yes, he is now ready to exchange the bishop, and he exchanged it. Perhaps we will witness the dark square bishop exchange as well. But wait a minute, for we have some delay before the exchange. Khatri will now consider castling. Perhaps wrong side castling seems pretty plausible in this position, but Khatri is calculating some other moves as well. Well, Khatri wants to march his pawn ahead, creating some sort of invasion into the black's area. But yet black is not readily agreeing in the position to exchange their pawn as well. Both of the opponents are yet to castle, but in this very game, Unlike other games, Khatri isn't lacking in terms of time. He is making his moves promptly as soon as the other player makes the move. Khatri having some well calculated tactic here. Perhaps Khatri has been slipping away his control on the central squares, but Khatri doesn't seem concerned here at all. Well, now Khatri showed some of his interest in controlling the central square. Khatri has to retreat his knight. Yes, he does retreat his knight, and I think the bishop on dark square will be pushed, kicked away immediately. A check has been wandering around, lurking around as a omnosity for Mr. Black, but Khatri hasn't been able to discover that check so far, perhaps, but now he has spotted it. Maybe he will go for the check. Oh my god, that was very unique move that we see. Maybe finger slip by Mr. Black. We don't see some early king move towards central square in this very position of this game. Khatri also seems confused. Okay, knight taken followed by uh check was what we see there, but Khatri will be taken with the knight perhaps, but taking with knight maybe loosens the control over the central square, so Khatri takes with the queen. Now Khatri is ready to castle, I believe. Yes, he does castle. No, wait. Khatri has no hurry in castling. Khatri wants to create more control, more power, and then castle perhaps. Or he is not even trying to consider castling in this game. He wants to build an immense pressure towards Mr. Black so that he resigns perhaps. Black is taking a bit of time here. Maybe he is trying to imitate the uh, action of Mr. Khatri on the earlier games. The pieces of Mr. Black doesn't seem to be well coordinated. On the other hand, white pieces, the pawn on e5, d4 has been well protected by knight, also queen, so there's no overload for any piece. Also the bishop has been protecting the pawn, so I think the piece of Mr. White, Mr. Khatri has been well coordinated in this very game. Khatri has to be well cautious of the knight moving ahead, marching ahead in this game. Perhaps first giving the check was ideal, but Khatri didn't think so. Checking with the knight seemed very obvious to me, but Khatri didn't think that. Now the Mr. Black has been losing in terms of time. He's behind with a losing disadvantage of time of more than a minute. So no more than a minute, but yeah, obviously 40 or 50 seconds here, but Khatri is taking a bit of time as well. Khatri is ready to give check to Mr. Black. I don't think Khatri is trying to castle anymore. He wants to create the pressure, uh, perhaps checkmate the black. Now it is the very late time to move your queen, Mr. Black. You haven't even moved your knight so far. I don't think Black has been playing a really good chess in this very game without capitalizing every of your piece available. I don't know how will you win. So that's a really a criticism from my side. Khatri, the pawn on d4 is unprotected, but Khatri seems uninterested in taking that pawn. Sorry, protecting that pawn. The opponent player has less than 20 seconds remaining. He can play any move from here and win, I believe. But Khatri is again well calculating his position, calculating his moves. And now Khatri can give the skewer there. Khatri is also lacking behind in time, but this is the very time that Khatri gives the checkmate. Yes, it is the time to retaliate against every blunder. It's time for self-revolution, I believe. After that amazing win, Khatri has some morale to begin, morale to build. We witnessed Caro-Can defense followed by modern variation in this game. Khatri has some well experience of playing this variation, I believe, but Khatri is taking some time to calculate his position, calculate his moves. The knight moved to d7 square. It has been looking into interesting square of f6. Central has been equally controlled by both of the teams. The tension continues to build and there seems no symptoms of breaking the tension in the center. But now I think it is the time when Khatri wants to loosen the control over the center and break the tension. Yes, he wants to break the tension on the center. He wants to jump to g6. Now Khatri has to retreat to his original position. Yes, he does retreat. Or he plays aggressively towards g6 with a sacrifice rolling around. No, Khatri for now plays passively, retreats to original position. Khatri has been overthinking every of his move in this very extreme. And Khatri, I would like to emphasize that not to overthink and not to overstress over every move because sometimes instinctive gameplay is very nice to play. Oh, if the rook is able to move and after the castle, perhaps it will be helpful to take the queen, but no, Khatri offers the queen exchange right away in this position. No, for now we don't see a queen exchange, but Khatri seems very interested in that exchange. Khatri is now ready to give queen, but no, not for now. The bishop has been attacked there. The bishop is unprotected. I think black will spot that and protect with the rook. No, bishop moves. Now Mr. White is ready to march his pawn towards the way of glory, towards the way to becoming a queen. The black bishops are really powerful. On the other hand, white pieces are not well coordinated. The bishop, the dark square bishop of Mr. White hasn't moved single square yet. It is yet to be moved. An offer of exchange is what we see in this position, but Khatri has some other plans rolling around the back of his mind, but not for now. Wait a minute. Perhaps that is a checkmate if Khatri will miss it or. Oh yeah, Khatri has spotted that checkmate threat by Mr. Black. Immediately blocks the way for Mr. Rook. Using his dark square bishop, the bishop has moved only a single square so far in this game. Khatri immediately changes his plan of giving check on h7 and goes for an exchange, considering that threat was really menacing. Khatri must attack the rook, I believe. He is trying to create some discovery attack here, perhaps. Mr. White has only a dark square bishop remaining, and also dark square bishop dark square has been captured by pawns. I don't think that is an ideal situation to be in. After this exchange, perhaps Khatri will have a passer pawn, but same goes for Mr. Black. Mr. Black will also have a passer pawn, so this position seems fairly equal for both of the teams so far, so good. Okay, both of the players are ready to march their pawn invading into each other's territory. Oh my god, the pawn has been marching really hard in a file. It is a matter of curiosity if Black will spot that en passant opportunity or not, but Khatri gives away his pawn like that without the chance of en passant. Khatri has some good calculations going around, but Khatri repeats his history. Okay, Khatri repeats his history, and that in terms of time there, Khatri will attack the pawn on g6 perhaps now, because he has to protect the pawn on h5, also creating passing idea to Mr. Pawn on d4. Well, Khatri has some good calculations going around. If everything goes per his plan, Khatri will definitely win here, but let's see what happens. Everything will be unveiled with time. Now the king is trying to sneak into the position of Mr. White and take the pawn on h4. Oh my god, now Khatri has a passer pawn. Perhaps he will capitalize upon that. Khatri also threatens. Okay. We have to see who will win this race, if Khatri wins or... Okay, both of the teams will win, and it is a matter of fact that the black will be forced to give the check. No checks for now, I believe, but chances of perpetual always lurks around. Another check perhaps from e5 side. Yes, it is another check. I believe no checks after Khatri moves to Okay, Khatri has less than 20 seconds remaining. Khatri must move very promptly. Every move should be well calculated and very fastly moved. Khatri has less than 15 seconds remaining. Khatri must move fast here. Khatri must avoid the perpetual check. Okay, it is a perpetual, I believe. The opponent player is constantly trying to win in time. Now Khatri will move a random moves here. Less than 3 seconds remaining for Mr. Khatri. Khatri must take the pawn and keep moving, and it is a draw, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is a draw. Khatri really need to improve his time management in this very form of chess. Blitz is all about time management and proper move in proper time. You have to believe in your gut feelings. You have to believe in your instinct to move correctly. Now Khatri is bringing his learning into action in this game by moving promptly. Khatri begins with accelerated London system. This system most typically ends in a draw with locked pawn position. Perhaps that will be the same situation that we see in this very game as well. Let's see what happens. Perhaps Khatri is interested in breaking his pawn structure, but not for now. Khatri has been calculating some of his moves. The knight on b1 has not moved yet. I think it will move now. Yes, it does move. Both of the players are ready to castle and enter into the mid game. The knight is trying to attack the bishop, but bishop is protected by a pawn. But maybe Khatri is trying to exchange his bishop. Okay, opening up the file wasn't a good idea by Mr. Khatri, so he avoids it. Okay, giving check. Khatri lost his castle in the right after this move. That was really unfortunate. The bishop will most probably move. Yes, it does move. Immediately bishop will be kicked, I believe. Yes, it is now kicked. Again, attack with the knight on f3. The bishop doesn't have any good squares to move here. Only square remaining is f6. Also moving to that square blocks the way of the queen. Okay, Khatri blocks the opponent player blocks the way of Mr. Rook. The semi-open file has been closed. After that, bishop will be trapped in this position. Khatri continues his attack on bishop, trying to capture it, to trap it. But the pawn steps forward to protect their bishop. On the other side of the board, there is a different story going on. The queen has been really active. The black player long castle, however, Mr. Khatri wasn't able to castle. The king has been abandoned on e2 square there. That isn't what we really expect in the middle game. The king is really not happy to be there, of course, but it was what the fate had to say. The pawn structure of both of the team is quite strong. That's beautiful for the pawn on a5 has been marching ahead without any publicity, without any noise. Okay, Khatri begins to strengthen his pawn chain. A pawn exchange is what we see. The game has come to a slow position. Khatri takes with knight. Okay, the pawn on e3 has been double attacked with a rook, with a bishop. And what Khatri does is move his knight to protect his pawn. Yes, he does that. Now Khatri wants to sneak into the territory of Mr. Black, directly inside the king's room there from a7 open square. Perhaps the pawn will step forward to protect their area, but the pawn on a5 is again there, will be trying to distract away the pawn there. It's a really cheeky position here. Khatri has to move really carefully. Every flimsy move can be a real threat in the end game. The bishop will be trapped after the pawn moves, but okay, Khatri is trying to create that play too. If opponent player fails to spot it, Khatri will definitely capitalize upon that. But for now, what we see is the rook has attacked the pawn. Okay, now the bishop has been locked there permanently. Only in the endgame we will see that bishop moving, but okay. Bishop has been freed, pardon me. Oh, this is a very complex position to analyze upon, but for now the queen has been attacked by Mr. Knight. The pony has been jumping around like crazy. Now there is a passer pawn which can be a real threat for Mr. Black, but yet it is attacked by both of the pieces there. For now it remains protected by Mr. Pony, but it can be anyways kicked away from that. Both of the players have around a minute remaining, less than a minute for Mr. Black to be precise. Now Khatri has an advantage of 1 point here, but I don't know what Khatri was doing and he lost his queen unfortunately. Ladies and gentlemen, perhaps this is the last game for today. We hope to win this. it is the close Sicilian defense that we see for this very last game for today. Let's see what happens. We don't expect such silly slip away as we see in the previous game. The bishop has pinned the knight, but Khatri seems uninterested to bother about that pin there. He is anticipating some sort of bishop knight exchange followed by pawn taking. I don't know if Khatri is well aware of the fact that double pawn can be a disadvantage. Having a quick chat in between the game can be a real fun if both of the teams take it as an sportsmanship spirit. Okay, Khatri has some good position in this game, good central control, well developed bishop and the knight. Perhaps Khatri is winning this game as